All right, everybody. On Thursday, our Avid team did a great job presenting and talking about Quickwrites. And so I know I put in the chat that I would do a little thing on PearDeck and kind of what I've done in the past with doing some Quickwrites with kids in class. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do today. So hopefully I can make this quick. So for those of you that have not used PearDeck before, just a real quick tutorial on how to get to PearDeck. So you open up any Google slides, basically Google's version of a PowerPoint, anything that you've already done, or you can create something brand new. And when you get there, go to add-ons and click get add-ons. You'll see that I already have it installed here, but go to get add-ons, and then you should just fairly easily be able to type in PearDeck, PearDeck, and get that added on to your Google Slides. And so once you have that and you click on this little icon right here, it should bring up a menu on the side. The menu gives you basically ways to add a question into your presentation so that kids can answer questions in real time from you, and you can do them in a text version, which is what we would do to do a quick write. That's just like an open text. You can make it multiple choice. You can have them pick a number. If you want to get the extended version of PearDeck, they have the ability to draw and drag things and all that stuff. But really, to do quick writes, all you need is just to be able to add text. And so when you click that, adding a text, it's basically going to add a question to your slide, whatever slide that you are currently highlighted on. Might take a little bit here, but let's see if we can get this going again. All right, so it adds a question, and it adds it to what you're currently doing, and it needs you to write your response. It says students write their response. So you would have to put a question in your actual slide, for instance. So this is one of my AP Government slides on elections and why people vote as they do. If I wanted to take this slide and instead make it a PearDeck slide so that students can answer a question, I might have these two things, and then I might ask them to do in a short paragraph, tell me why, and then, blah, 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 blah. You have your little quick write that you've added there. When the kids get it, I'm going to show you what this looks like in just a second. When the kids get that slide up on their screen, they'll see the question, but then it'll give a spot for them to do a response to it. And so that's essentially how to add a question to an existing slide. And so just click that text and you're good to go. So I'm going to shut this one down, and I'm going to go over to one that I already have Quickwrites already built into. So in my AP Gov class, I was trying to solve the problem of working on a question in class, and we have 4 different types of questions in AP Government that they give on the national test. And they usually look like this. So we have a quantitative analysis question, and then they have like 4 parts to the question. So I was trying to get a way to have student interaction and then be able to look and evaluate other people's writing in class, but do it anonymously. And this does that for you. So once you have PearDeck up and you have your questions like you want them, so notice this is the concept application questions here. There are A, B, and C parts to the question. You'll notice that I already have a question, the text question embedded down there. That's all I had to do was add text and then make this a question. So here's another quantitative analysis question again. So there's only 3. We were going to work on these all through one period, one day last year. And so to get it working in your classroom, or virtually, or in an actual classroom, you have kids open their Chromebooks. So you could be doing this on a Google Meet, and then have kids say, hey, open up another tab, and you, as you're teaching, you just click Start Lesson. So you can't click Present. It doesn't do it the same way. You need to be in the PearDeck add-on. So once you click that and it gets over here, you click Start Lesson. And so this is basically, so you can do a student-paced activity, but most of the time I do instructor-paced so that I can control their screens and how much time they have on each of them. So click instructor-based. I'm going to start a new session, and it's going to bring up my slides like normal. So it's just like I'm giving a normal presentation. I want to upgrade to premium. And it's going to give them a thing like where you'd enter into a Quizlet, like you'd enter into whatever the other, I can't remember the name right now, the other vocab quiz thing. Kids go to joinpd.com, so I'm going to do it on my Chromebook right here, and I'm going to enter as a student. So and once they're signed into Google, this will record all their stuff. And so students get a code, they put that code in, PXW, and they click enter, and then it'll ask them to sign in with their Google sign-in, and it'll give them access to this same presentation. Notice it just said my first student connected, that's me, and it'll load the presentation for them. Now, they cannot do anything in that presentation until I click through that presentation for them. So once I click start class, I know all my kids are in. Let's say I have 15 kids that I know are in the class today, and you'll show me down there, it says one student connected. Once I get 15, I'll click start class. And so I can control this just like a normal slide. Normal slideshow. So I can go forward, and so when I go forward, students then see that slide, and then they are given a it'll be interesting for many of you that do this. I would do it on your computer, but then have your Chromebook and you be the student in your class, and that'll show you kind of the student version. So students write their answers. I'm going to just type in a quick few answers. So it says, describe the percentage of Democrats in 2014 who describe themselves as mostly liberal. I would go here, percentage of Democrats and political values that are mostly liberal. And it would say somewhere in the 33%, looks like. Yeah, in 2014, so 33%. So all a kid would need to do is write in 33%. Now, as I'm looking at this, I can switch to show student responses. So students will have this question continued up on their screen, but for me, I can then show students as they write. I can have my screen change. So you notice that I already typed in 33%. And as I keep typing, so I'm going to show you what it looks like here. As I keep typing, you can see it in real time. I put a B there, and I'm going to answer the trend over time. So was that people who were Democrats got more liberal. And you can see that is coming up on my screen. But notice it's anonymous. Kids have signed into Google, but it's completely anonymous. And so if multiple people were logged on here, you would see multiple of these, what would you call those, text boxes, basically. And so you'd have multiple of these going that you could scroll through and show. And if you wanted to stop your class right in the middle of things and say, hey, everybody stop for a second, here's a really good answer here, let's see how many we got. You don't ever have to show that to students, but if you want to, it is an option for you to show that to students. You can, but when you do this, if you're showing your screen, you can lock your screen, and then you can look at the answers and see how kids are answering in real time. So as you go through this, again, you hit the next question, and whether students are done writing or not, it flips them to the next question. And so I suddenly have a new question, and I can answer A, and I can start answering. I can look at those responses again, and you can see I typed in a little fake answer there. So you can do that all, and you get through the end of the session, and you come down here to where it says end. Right? When you end the session, it's going to have you name it. So you've logged on with PearDeck through Google Slides. This is the kicker for actually having the kids' answers in like text form. is to name it whatever you want to name it. So I'm going to name this test AP Gov, just as a test run through here, and I'm going to save and end my session. And that ends it for the kids. Mine on my Chromebook just shut down here, and so I'm done. Now, I want to come back to that. Let's say I've done 3 class periods of those. I've ended the session each time, and I've saved it. Where you go next is you go to PearDeack.com. And if you have added that on and logged in, so you just click the login, and notice I'm already there because I already had added it on. They have a home, and there's a lot of things you can do on the PearDeack site. It's pretty cool. They have a bunch of different things that you can add on and create. You can create directly from here if you want to, but notice anything that I've done recently also is in here as well, and I can open my drive directly from here. Google does a really great job of just kind of giving you ways to get into things from a lot of different angles. But the key for this is to go into sessions. And once you go into sessions, you can then notice there's today at 1:30 I started that. There's our session right there. I could get back into that and open it up if I wanted to. But the key for this is you want to either reopen or rename or archive the section, but the one key one is export to spreadsheet. So I'm going to export answers to a spreadsheet. Now I'm not going to do it for the test one because it was only me answering. I'm going to take one that I used to do, or I did last spring, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So we, again, did some FRQs in my AP Gov class. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to export that to a spreadsheet. And it's going to create a Google Sheets, and you'll notice that every kid who did this, so most of you know a lot of these senior kids, Tim Rambo, Shelby Clayton, Cesar Estrada, right? They were in anonymously to my PearDeck lesson, but then all of their answers, when I clicked end session, they're all here. I didn't do anything to create this. All I did was click export spreadsheet, and as long as they answered the questions in that question, I'm able to see now their full answer. So if I want to take that and I want to take this and copy and paste that, or if I want to export that to my drive, I can do that, and I have a record of kids taking this can basically count as some sort of like formative assessment. So if you're looking for things to do for observations and those type of things, and having formative assessments that you don't really have to do a lot of calculating of student work or collecting paper or doing those type of things, I would say that the easiest thing to do is just to embed a question or a question slide. You even do one. You don't have to do multiple. One question slide in a Google slide that you normally do. You want to ask a question as an entry task. Have it right at the start of your Google Slides. If you want to do it as an exit ticket, again, this works for in-class and virtually. You want to have it as an exit ticket, then put the slide, your question slide at the very end, and add a text to it, and it should be pretty easy for you to do. So hopefully that was a short enough and moderately informative. As always, if you have any questions of me, feel free to email. I can do Google Meets with anybody who wants to. If you have a group of people, 2 or 3 of you, who want to do a Google Meet with me and go over some of this stuff a little bit more in depth, we can do that. But either way, let me know, and hopefully this helps you kind of add those quick writes to some of your Google Slides. So hopefully I didn't miss anything. If not, have a good start to the week if I don't get to see you, and a good start to the school year.